Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, the Black and White story arc. Where previously, because of the massive machinations of Team Plasma, Drayden, in a Hail Mary play, announces to the press that the Pokemon League will be moved up to 1 week from now. Not time of recording, in-universe. So anyone who has 8 badges are the only people who will qualify. Meanwhile, Black faces off against Bryson to determine if Black is ready to take on Team Plasma, as Bryson unloads the full plan that he and Drayden have come up with, though Bryson is a little iffy on it. Essentially, they want Black to unleash Reshiram in order to face off against Zekrom, as it is the only thing to rival in Zekrom's power. And while Black is on board with the idea, since it'll help make sure that the Pokemon League goes through, once Black finds out that he is still 1 badge short of actually qualifying, Iris suggests that he find a legendary Pokemon to somehow convince Drayden to allow him to compete. With a little advice from Cedric Juniper, Iris advises going to Mistralton Cave to find one of the Swords of Justice, only for Black to encounter all 3. And it's all he can really do to protect those who had also gone looking for them, as the Swords of Justice don't really trust humanity. But they do end up seeing something special in Black, only for Black to have forgotten all about the idea of capturing them. So Black is in a little bit of a pickle. White is still training, and N, well, taking a look at the map in last episode, he's nearby. That could spell trouble. Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, it's Pokemon Adventures Black and White. Who's that Pokemon for this chapter? Darmanitan! That darn Darmanitan. And adventure number 48. The lesson ends here. See, a good time for my weird deep voice, but unfortunately I'm getting over my sickness. Weird to say. We pick up on Route 6. Oh, okay. So we have Alder being followed by Marshall through the kind of barren Route 6. Marshall saying, "Did you hear? The Pokemon League has been moved up. You have to head down there ASAP to prepare for it." Alder says, "I told you. I've entrusted the Elite Four with that responsibility. I'm ready to retire. I'm tired of all of this." Okay, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Alder's just like, "Look, man, I just want to do my thing." But Marshall shouts, "Then it's your responsibility to choose a replacement and step down." I mean, I don't really think that's how that works. He has to be defeated, right? And then again, past a certain point, it's just like if he chooses to retire. I mean, yeah, Red kind of fell into that kind of slump too, but he had issues. But Alder catches sight of something and then walks from the path, Marshall calling out, "Hey, where are you going?" But then Marshall catches sight of it, or them. Okay, I had to figure out who was talking. As Alder approaches the figure and several Pokemon, he says, "A long, long time ago, there lived 2 brothers who were heroes. The elder brother searched for the truth. The younger brother searched for the ideal. The 2 worked together with a dragon-type Pokemon to create the land, and that is how Unova came to be. But the brothers couldn't agree on which of the 2 things they sought was more important. Thus, the dragon-type Pokemon that helped them was divided into 2, white Pokemon and a black Pokemon. The elder brother, who was searching for the truth, was aided by the white dragon, Reshiram, and the younger brother, who was searching for the ideal, was aided by the black dragon, Zekrom." Alder says, gazing up at Zekrom looming over N. See, Zekrom looks so much bigger there. Okay, so Alder already knew what was up. So I have to wonder, was he already informed because of the situation going on with the gym leaders, or did the Elite Four even know about that? N says, "I have been waiting for you, Alder. A fool of a champion determined by that ridiculous event, the Pokemon League. Marshall shouts in anger, "You! How dare you mock my master!" But Alder laughs it off, saying, "Calm down, Marshall. You might have a point, you know. You have some fine Pokemon with you. They all look well cared for. Alright then, let's have a Pokemon battle. We'll make it a double battle with up to 4 Pokemon each. How does that sound?" And simply says, "Any battle style you choose is fine by me." Okay, so Alder sends in Buffalont and Escavalier. There we go, Escavalier. Had to think of the name. While N sends in Darmanitan and, what was it? Archeops? Archeops? Never know how to pronounce that name. I think it's Archeops. Alright, but the 2 go in. Marshall says, "Alright then, and I, Marshall Elite Four, will judge the outcome." Alder says, "Agreed." He tells Buffalont to use Head Charge against Darmanitan, knocking it back. Marshall says, "Buffalont's charge is so powerful it can derail a speeding train." But then says, "That's not a move you would use if you truly cared for your Pokemon." Oh god, it's pretentious. Marshall says, "What?" And Azen says, "That move is so powerful that some of the force has recoiled to strike Buffalont." Alder simply smiles it off, saying, "Ah, I see. That's what it looks like to you, huh? Buffalont's thick hair absorbs much of that recoil damage, you know. And Buffalont is willing to use such a powerful move because it has an understanding with me, its trainer." He tells Buffalont to use Head Charge again, but Darmanitan swiftly moves out of the way. Marshall questions, "Where did it go?" Oh, Marshall looks up in the air and sees Darmanitan in its, what was it called? Zen mode? I think that's what it was. Yeah, Zen mode. I still don't understand the mode shift thing, though. Buffalont is shocked, too. No, it's recoiling. As Marshall thinks, Buffalont is intimidated because his opponent changed into Zen mode to fight with Psychic-type moves. Oh, is that how that works? Weird. Yeah, suddenly Buffalont is knocked back by a Psychic attack. Marshall says, "Psychic moves? What about the other battle?" As Archeops is going up against Escavalier, they seem to be evenly matched. No. Well, Archeops is just evading Escavalier's attacks. Marshall thinks, "It has wings, but it can also run swiftly across the ground, using its wind-like footwork." Alder then calls out to Escavalier, and Escavalier gives up the chase of Archeops and ponders what Alder is up to. But Escavalier has gone after Darmanitan. Alder tells Escavalier to use Twin Needle and Buffalont to use Megahorn. They simultaneously strike at Darmanitan, seemingly downing it. It's hard to tell when it's in that Zen mode thing, but it does fall to the ground. Marshall says, "You chose to completely defeat one of my Pokemon first, to be on the safe side?" Doesn't he mean one of his Pokemon first? Yeah, Darmanitan's down. N tends to Darmanitan, saying, "Thank you, Darmanitan. You have done well." Yeah, but N wishes he had those healing powers right about now. Yeah, the ones that Yellow and Lance have. I don't know if Lance still has those powers in this continuity. But Alder says, "I've heard that gym leaders have been going missing during recent weeks. There's rumor that Team Plasma is behind these mysterious disappearances. Is that true? And are you a member of this Team Plasma?" And says, "It is true. And I am Team Plasma's king." And then looks to Zekrom, saying, "Zekrom accepted me just as it accepted the hero from days of yore. Thus, I too am a hero." He says with a very delusional look in his eyes. Oh, we then cut over to Black and Iris walking down, I think, Route 6. Yeah, probably. Black sighs, saying, "What am I supposed to do now?" Iris pats him on the back, saying, "No use worrying about it. You just gotta be optimistic." Yep, But Black gets angry and shouts, "Easier said than done, Iris. You can never understand how I feel." Again. The most pissy I've seen him get was someone. Iris just got a shrug, saying, "Yep, I don't get it, because I'm younger than you, right? Or do you mean there's someone else who does understand you? Like, who? White or Bianca, your childhood friend?" She mocks him. Black questions, "Why are you bringing them into this discussion?" Yeah, he's not picking up what she's putting down. Black simply says, "The only ones who truly understand me are my Pokemon, especially my very first Pokemon, Musha and Brave." Iris then questions, "Come to think of it, didn't you have a Braviary when went to meet when we met at Castelia City? What happened to it? Where'd it go? Black sulks, saying, enough already. I lent it to my boss. Iris balks him even more, saying, ooh, so White is the one. Why don't you give her a call? Tell her she's the only one who really gets you. They are like siblings. Black freaks out, saying, you're so annoying. I should drop you with Brave Sky Drop. If only Brave were here. Like, dude, that's not cool, man. Oh. Black then looks to the sky, seeing a very familiar silhouette, and sure enough, it's Brave. Well, Braviary. Black says, Brave, is that you, Brave? He hugs Braviary, who hugs him back as he says, I was missing you like crazy just now. Wait a minute. If you're here, does that mean the familiar boot steps forward saying, that's right. Hi, I'm back. And with this, we see the fully evolved form of my favorite final evolution of the starters, although I gotta say, Embor kinda getting it. Superior! Although, see, I will say though, a lot of the different forms are growing on me. Like, I was not that into a lot of Unova starters, but they have been growing on me throughout this series. Superior was my favorite, but seeing Embor in action, I've really taken a shine to it. Like, really taken a shine to it, because it's been looking real cool. But I've also got if Samurott was just a little bit cooler. Like, I need to see Samurott in action. That might sway my opinion too. But I have a tendency not to really choose too many grass starters, and I think that might have painted my opinion of Superior, because I wanted to just really like a grass starter final evolution. I don't know. I like his personality, his snootiness. And yeah, she got it to its final evolution. That's a lot of bonding, Amanda. But White, blushing a little, says, hi, I'm back. Oh, Black, jeez, looks like you see the ghost, says, but boss, I says, thank you so much for lending me your Pokemon. Brave was a great help, but I don't need Brave anymore. I have my own team now. I even captured myself a flying-type Pokemon, so I thought I should auto-return Brave to you. I love how her, what is it again? Vullaby is just looking all haughtily. I hope it evolves. I feel like it would be a great counterpart for Brave. Black looks at White's team saying, wow, that's amazing. You captured them all by yourself? White says, uh-huh. It feels good to have these two back together again. Black says, you've been working hard, boss. White says, and I've got this too. Black is astonished to see her Pokedex. They're not making a sound now that they're near each other. As White says, I'm just like you, Black. While Iris is just kind of sulking over to the side saying, yep, check out the lovebirds. But suddenly, Iris catches the sound of battle catches Iris's attention. Oh, she literally says that. I didn't even know that's what she was going to say. And she calls it to the attention of Black and White, saying, that's the sound of a Pokemon battle. Someone's fighting nearby. As the trio head over to a nearby ridge, Black is shocked as he sees a defeated Alder. Black says, he's been defeated. The champion Alder lost. Oh, dang. Okay, what's he at? I should have known. Braviary at level 56. Somehow, some way, I knew it. Braviary at level 56. Muna at level 56. Galvantula at level 56. Like, we hit that cap. It's just like, nobody can be stronger than Braviary. Just, no. And now that Braviary is back in Black's team, it'll start just gaining levels like crazy. So is Reshiram really just going to be Black's final Pokemon, or is it going to be different than that? I really do wonder. It's just kind of weird to me when the final member of someone's team is a legendary. Not to say that it hasn't happened before, but it's when it's a permanent fixture on that person's team. It's like, really? Huh. And okay, not trying to hate. Just saying, it's really unorthodox with everything we've seen in the series. I'm not surprised that Alder lost, though, but at the same time, dang, I would have loved to have seen it. Wonder if that's how it went down in the game, too. And did he use Zekrom, or was it just his regular Pokemon? Alright. Who's that Pokemon for this chapter is Archeops, and it's adventure number 49. Will the truth come out? The truth about Alder's defeat? As Black looks down at the downed Alder, he says, Alder was defeated? By who? And as they look in the distance, they spot N. Much to their shock, Black says, N. Marshall hears the commotion from up on the ridge and says, you? As Black, White, and Iris make their way down, Black says, Marshall, what's going on here? Marshall says, well, as you can see, N and my master are engaged in an outdoor battle. Unfortunately, the odds are stacked against my master. Wait, so is he still fighting? Black looks to N saying, I bet you pulled a sneak attack on him like you did with me. N, however, doesn't respond. Iris turns to Alder saying, Grandpa Alder, are you all right? Pull yourself together. Not her actual grandpa. It's just a term of endearment, right? I feel like I heard about Alder having some kind of a kid or a grandchild, but I don't think it was Iris. No. It was some wild kid with like a pompadour-like hairstyle. Alder tries to get up saying, oh, it's you, Iris. No need to panic. I just got knocked down by the concussion of Zora's attack. Oh, Zora? Dang. Zora stepped up. I could have dodged it easily in my youth. Oh well, none of us are getting any younger. I feel that. This is a proper Pokemon battle, and N and I agreed to fight with each other. For someone to win, someone must lose. All you need to do is stand back and watch. Yeah, see, even White questions it. It's like, Grandpa? Marshall, tending to Iris, says, oh, Iris affectionately calls Master Alder and Mayor Drayden Grandpa. Iris looks to N with apprehension, saying, Grandpa Drayden saw I had a talent for training Dragon-type Pokemon, and Grandpa Alder taught me all about feelings and stuff. I really care about him. How can you do something like this to him? But Alder then brings out a Celigore, and it faces off against Archeops. White says, they're so fast, I can't keep up with them. As Exceldor uses acid against Archeops? Yeah, Archeops is utterly decimated, as then says acid spray. White uses her Pokedex, which is weird that we're not actually seeing the Pokedex entry on her screen. But she says, a move in which a Pokemon spits out fluid to melt its target. Oh, maybe because Black already analyzed it. Maybe? Black says, it's Alder's favorite move. Marshall says, that's right. A double battle using 4 Pokemon. My master only has Exceligore left, but N has 2 Pokemon left, Zora and Archeops, who will probably replace with that. And Marshall looks to the sky, and everyone else does so as well. Only just now noticing Zekrom. I was going to say Zora. Like, nope, wrong Z. Iris questions, a black dragon-type Pokemon? How do you instantly know it's a dragon-type? I mean, I guess, yeah, it does look like a dragon, but a really wonky-looking dragon, all things considered. Like, seeing it for the first time, my immediate thought was not dragon. Black says, Zekrom. That's Zekrom. And Zekrom glares down at Black. Suddenly, the light orb in Black's backpack starts to ignite. Black pulls it out. And it's like fire in his hands, I guess, because he's like wincing in pain. He says, wow. Aaron says, the light stone is reacting. And just like that, Reshiram comes up like, let's go, son. Like, Reshiram said, go time. Oh, but suddenly, White is sucked back into the light stone. And looks to Black saying, oh, so you have the light stone. Alder then says, Black, things are certainly looking bad for me. I didn't ask for your help. And says he can't help you. He hasn't been able to turn the light stone into Reshiram yet. But Reshiram chose Black. Why? I don't get it. Another problem I can't solve. You seem to believe that my last Pokemon is Zekrom, but you are mistaken. He says come out, and out pops GG. Dun dun dun! It's like, a small pig with a bow! Both Black and White are aghast. And, yep, GG and Zoroa leap into action against Celigore. Marshall questions, he's using a Zoro and a Temping as his last 2 Pokemon? Well, Iris says, looks like it, Marshall. And those 2 are unbelievably fast. Much, much faster than Grandpa's Exceligore. Okay, Gigi leveled up. I'd love to know Gigi's stats. Alder says, concentrate your attack on the Temping first, to eliminate its fire-type moves, which are your weakness. Exceligore hits Gigi with an acid spray, and White winces. But something lunges at Exceligore from behind and begins to glow. Oh! It was a misdirect. The Pokemon behind Exceligore is Gigi, while the Pokemon that was hit with the acid spray was Zora. Dang, nice. Black says, that was just Zora's illusion. And Gigi unleashes a massive flamethrower, or ember, hard to say, against Excelgor. And Excelgor is, as Excelgor falls, Alder comes to it saying, Excelgor, I'll treat your wounds right away. Come to me. Come on. But that's mean. As Excelgor reaches out for Alder, it turns out it was Zoro in disguise. Excelgor faint. Dang. I wonder how the Vanillish fell. Or, is it Vanillish? Vanillux. There it is. But with all of Alder's Pokemon down, Marshall says, all 4 have fainted. Master Alder has been defeated. And turns to everyone else saying, you're all witnesses, right? I, N, have defeated the champion. And I gotta say, he did it without using the legendary. That says something. That does say something. He didn't use any tricks. He didn't use any misdirection. It was a straightforward battle, and N still won. Damn. Damn. And Black really just wants to treat N like the bad guy, and by all accounts, he really kind of is. But Marshall was witness. Black was witness. He didn't use the legendary. He could have at any point used Zekrom, but he didn't. He won fair and square. Damn. And says, no longer will his Pokemon be trapped inside their Pokeballs. Now they are free of selfish people. This is the right way for Pokemon to live. This is the ideal of Team Plasma. Pokemon trainers emulate their champion. The champion is the figurehead of an organization that leads trainers to believe they have the right to control Pokemon and make them do their bidding. But now their champion has suffered an unequivocal defeat, so his followers will finally understand my ideal, the values of Team Plasma, and they will choose to free their Pokemon. And looks to the sky, picturing Getsu saying, Father, world where all Pokemon may live in peace, just a step away. And turns to Gigi saying, good work, you defeated the champion. I sense that you wish to do what you wish to do. And together we made it happen. And then looks to White saying, isn't it wonderful? Aren't you going to congratulate your beloved Gigi on the new talent she's developed? Marshall questions, you mean that Tepig is? White says, yes, this is the Pokemon who left me in Nimbasa City to go with N. N questions, so do you still wish to limit Gigi to a career in show business? Would you like me to return your Pokemon to you? White says, no. I didn't know if it would be good for Gigi to fight Pokemon battles. I didn't have the right to influence Gigi either way before because I'd never had a Pokemon battle myself. That's why I decided to learn how to battle. And says, I can see you've been training hard. This Ivy I gave you has become superior. And the other Pokemon around you have developed skills too. You spent a lot of time with them. You've gained a lot. You've all gained experience. You've built trust with each other. It looks like you too have learned to listen to the voices of Pokemon. White says, thank you. So now, I can give you a clear answer. These Pokemon may choose what they wish to do. If you want to continue fighting Pokemon battles, Gigi, that's fine. But if you ever feel like performing in shows again, you're always free to come back to me. And if that day comes, I won't let you stand in our way, and I will fight you. But then he reaches out, holding White by the shoulder, saying, you can see that we aren't enemies. We share the same ideal. The Black steps in angry, saying, stop that. He pulls White away, saying, how dare you lay a finger on my boss? But N simply turns and walks away. But suddenly a voice calls out, what are you doing? You mustn't let him get away. Oh, Samurott? Huh. Okay, I wasn't expected to see that here. Cedric says, looks like I made it just in time. Black says, Professor Juniper? Hey, that's Samurott. Oshawa's final evolved form. How did you get it? Cedric says, we can talk about that later. You want to save the gym leaders, right, Black? You need to find out where Team Plasma's headquarters are, don't you? The king of Team Plasma is standing right in front of us. This is the perfect opportunity. We defeat N, maybe we can get him to tell us the whereabouts of Team Plasma's castle. In the final form of all 3 starters, all stand at the ready. I gotta tell ya, I thought it was gonna be Claren, or it was gonna turn out to be Chirin or something like that. Because I thought it's just like, oh, he's finally finished his investigation, so he's stepping in, he's ready to stand up and fight. Because I figured maybe he would have the final evolution of the 3rd Pokemon, but then I had to, for some reason, I keep thinking he had the Oshawott, but no, he had the Snivy. White has the final evolution of the Snivy line. So, no, it would have been Bianca. But no, not Bianca. That's weird. It's weird to have so many starters in this. It keeps kind of throwing me off a little bit. Because I keep thinking that Chirin and Bianca are going to be more involved. And no, it's Cedric. Huh. Oh, also, I didn't talk about it before, but it's still wild to me that Black's least powerful Pokemon is the same level as White's most powerful Pokemon. And it's also ironic to me that just like Braviary was Black's most powerful, it's the Vullaby that is White's most powerful. That's, I don't know, it's just interesting to me how that works out. Alright, the last chapter of this video and this volume. Who's that Pokemon? Samurott. I don't know, I think it's kind of cool now. It's adventure number 50. 50 chapters. Well, 500 chapters, but 50 chapters in this story. A wretched reunion, right? Oh, speaking of Professor Juniper, Cedric's daughter, I always forget what her full name is. Aria is, I guess, down the same route as them, Route 6, traveling with Fennel. Fennel says, I'm sick of climbing. But Aria says, but my father should be just over this hill. Come on, Fennel, you can do it. Fennel says, this is too much for me, Aria. Fennel's too much of a homebody. But as they come over the ridge, everybody's just peeking over this ridge, happening upon shocking situation. They see Black, White, and Cedric facing off against N, with all three final forms of the starters. Cedric tells Black and White, we have to focus our power. Black, White, 1, 2, 3, and all three of the starters unleash their most powerful attacks. Emboar, Samurott, and Serperior. Well, which is kind of messed up going against these ones who just fought. I mean, they completely overwhelmed Gigi and Zoroa. Cedric says, keep it up, White. Our opponent is tired out from the battle against Alder. This is our chance. White, rather painfully, says yes. Cedric then says, Samurott, use your scimitar. What the what? What the what? Samurott can do that? Yo! Okay, that is wild. Okay, so, it's little armor-like things on its... Oh, that's kind of cool. It's silly looking. In fact, it actually loses points for me because that is mad silly looking. Look, all I'm saying is, I feel like Samurott should be an upright Pokemon. The fact that it's got that all-four stance just throws me. Scimitar. That's goofy. But Samurott comes in a swinging as Gigi and Zoroark try their best to dodge, and says, grass, water, and fire. These are the final evolved forms of these Pokemon. Cedric questions, does this Samurott seem familiar? It should. It's one of the three Pokemon who were at my research lab. Black and White question, what do you mean? Cedric explains. Grass, water, and fire-type Pokemon are the most basic research subjects. I wanted to entrust them to the hands of rookie trainers so I could do research on them, record their growth, and see how they evolve. My daughter is a researcher too. She had the same idea. We plan to compare our data after sending out 3 Pokemon from our laboratory. Oh, don't tell me. The 3 that Aria sent out went to Black, Bianca, and Chirin. But the 3 Cedric kept the Oshawott. Was one of them Gigi? I thought it was kind of weird that there was just another Tepig out there. Is it Gigi? And the other one is Amanda. Well, damn. That feels wildly convenient, but the fact that White would end up with 2 of those Pokemon, though, I mean, not so much convenient because N had the other. More like fate. Huh. Yeah. Oh my god. Cedric says, each of us had a set of grass, water, and fire-type Pokemon. One at my lab and one at my daughter's lab. We each had a full team of 3. That is so wild. And it really does show the kind of differences between 3 different Pokemon. So, Amanda's female. Is Sharon Snivy male? Oh, Bianca's Oshawott is male. Is Cedric Samurott female? I don't think it's specified. Gigi is female. Bo is male. That's the difference. That's the difference too. Juniper had all the males. Cedric had all the females. Huh. Okay. And it's so interesting seeing the difference too, because all of Aria's Pokemon have all these big bombastic personalities. Bo is hot-headed. Kieran Snivy is very taut. Bianca's Oshawott can pop off when it gets a little too aggravated. But Cedric's Oshawott or Samurott, very serious, determined. It's just ready to do its due diligence. GG. They're all of the females are very just kind of diligent. They're more willing to listen. That's weird. Such an interesting contrast. I don't feel like that's saying anything too deep on a bigger level, but that's just a very interesting point of view going from that. Because the two Snivy, despite the fact that Amanda has, a lot of personality compared to Cheer and Snivy in the beginning, it just, the egos, the male has a little bit more ego than the female, but the egos are still there. But Arya and Fennel come running in as Arya says, "That's right. Yes, that's right." Black says, "Professor Juniper? Fennel." Arya says, "All we had to do was find rookies who were willing to take on the training task." Cedric says, "But before we got the chance, we had some trouble at my lab. It all happened a year ago during a storm." We see at Cedric's lab, N, dripping with water, comes in. Cedric saying, "N appeared at the laboratory in broad daylight, without any qualms, see? Yeah, he just releases Cedric's Pokemon into the rain." Cedric's just like, "Wait, what?" He goes to chase after him, but Zoroark trips him, and he falls into the muck. And then N just takes off with the Zoroark and the Snivy by his side. Cedric says, "One of them went missing. One of them followed N. And the last one stayed with me." Yeah, that says a lot about the Oshawott. It's just like, I don't want to go out in the rain. Like, why would I want to go out there? That seems kind of weird. Cedric says, "That's why I decided to raise the remaining Pokemon myself." As Samurott is giving Chi-Chi and Zoroark the business, it's just like, "You just messed up my meal ticket." Zoro and Gigi fall before N. As N picks up the two Pokemon, he says, "Professor Juniper, liberating the Pokemon from your laboratory was my first duty as king. I left my castle after my coronation and traveled the Unova region. It was just as my father told me. The world was full of lamenting Pokemon. I couldn't believe my ears. And why had it come to this? The main cause is the Pokemon League and Pokemon research laboratories. Pokemon are captured, studied, forced to battle. To satisfy the rivalry of trainers and the egos of researchers. This problem can only be solved by transforming the hearts and minds of the public. But I could hear the Pokemon telling me they could wait no longer. That is why I began by liberating 3 Pokemon at your lab. You claim that my liberation strategy is robbing you of your Pokemon, but you are robbing your Pokemon of their freedom." Arya says, "No. Our duty as Pokemon researchers is to improve the relationships between humans and Pokemon." And questions, "Improve relationships, eh? Have you forgotten what you did to your Pokemon on the day you sent them away? After you decided which trainers to give them to, your Pokemon were nervous and worried, but you were too busy talking on the phone to pay attention to them. As a result, you scolded the 3 Pokemon who got into a quarrel, and your Tepig even caught a cold." Arya is shocked, saying, "How do you know all that?" And explains, "My Zora transformed into a little boy and watched you. I also know that you didn't personally hand off those Pokemon to their trainers. You had a delivery person deliver the Pokemon to them." Yeah, that ain't really a good look, honestly. You treat it more like a chore than anything else. You packaged up the 3 Pokemon you had them delivered. Those acts are proof that you view Pokemon as mere things, objects for you to use. Why don't you listen to the voices of your Pokemon? You don't even make the effort to understand them from their body language, their actions, their cries. Arya has no response to this. Are those revives? Okay, I guess you don't really need healing abilities when you got revives by the dozens, because I'm pretty sure that's what he brings out, are full restores. He hands them to his Pokemon, saying, "There's no need for me to remain here any longer. Let's go back." But Black steps in his way, saying, "Hold it. If you're returning to Team Plasma's headquarters, I'm going with you." And questions, "For what?" But we see that Black has surrounded Ann's team with his. So, gotta get in Galvantula. Ann says, "What for?" Black says, "What for? To rescue the gym leaders, of course. You're going to take me there. I'll make you if I have to." Ann says, "So you'll force your Pokemon to fight me?" You're not listening to your Pokemon either then. Do you really think you can defeat me like this? And says, staring down Black's Pokemon, who all begin to kind of panic a little bit. They all back up a bit. Black questions, hey, why are you all so nervous? And says, your Pokemon are aware that they can't win by following your commands. They know it's pointless to fight me. Black says, what are you talking about? Well, the thoughts of never being able to win just starts to overwhelm Black's mind. He calls to Muna, saying, Musha, but it's not dreams, it's just doubt filling his head, so Muna shies away and says, see, that just proves how little you understand your Pokemon. And comes in close to Black, saying, your dream doesn't taste good anymore. Its flavor has changed. Muna doesn't want to eat the dream inside your head anymore. Muna only stayed with you this long because you were feeding it. In exchange, Muna fought you in Pokemon battles, and enabled you to channel some amazing perception and deduction skills. You and Muna merely had a relationship of convenience, a relationship that only lasted as long as your dream. But now that your dream has ceased to appear inside your head, Muna has no incentive to stay with you any longer. You and Muna never had a real friendship. Black is aghast as he sees Muna fly away. White says, don't listen to him, Black. You can't take what N says to heart. Black says, but we've been together ever since the time Musha chomped down on my head on Route 1. We've always been together. I was always looking forward to seeing Muna evolve into a cool Musharna one day. That's why I named it Musha. Oh, Jesus. For a second I thought I kind of missed something, but I think Black just like back then, he overloaded on thoughts. Black falls to the ground. White calls out to Black, and we see Zekrom fly overhead. But as it flies off, Zorua on top goes over to the tail, catching sight of Cedric. Oh, he uses his ability to bring out the Pokedex in Cedric's back pocket. And as Cedric says, the Pokedex ends, what is that? Temple uses a water gun to destroy it. Jeez, that was the one supposed to go to Chirin. These Pokedexes just cannot catch a break, man. Dang that. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to repair that one. Like, my God. And the Pokedex with a big old hole in the center falls before Juniper. Zorua smiles to N as they take off. All Cedric can do is growl in anger as they all watch. I love that Zekrom is just kind of holding all the other Pokemon. And as N rides on top, he says, Father, I surpassed the champion. And that was the last battle that would hurt a Pokemon. But N seems to realize something, saying, strange. I begun to see it all clearly now. Although I always thought it was an unsolvable puzzle. He will surely stand before you again. Oh no. Someone tells N will surely stand before you again, together with Reshiram as the hero. As N thinks, Zekrom's voice? See, they don't make it kind of clear that it's Zekrom kind of telling him. It's just like, buckle up, young buck. We ain't done just yet. Like, nah. This isn't how it goes. Like, the kid might have had a moment, but we gonna do this dance again. And next time, you and me, son, it's gonna be white on black. Black on white. Well, see, that's weird when you got black and then the character white and then the white Pokemon and the black Pokemon, but the black Pokemon is with N and not white. And it's weird how that all works out. Oh, the narration reads, but sadly, a week has passed, and the day of the Pokemon League has arrived. Oh, we pick up at International Police Headquarters, where someone sitting behind a desk says, I see. So you'll need more time for your infiltration. No, I trust your judgment. Thank you for the report. Oh, okay, that was the person that... the person... I don't want to give it away just yet, was originally talking to. A figure steps forward to the international police captain saying, you want me to go? The director says, no, he'll be fine. He's stubborn and clumsy, but he'll get the job done. Of course, gotta give him those goofy glasses. Looker is on the scene. So, how directly after Platinum does this take place? Because that's the thing. They keep doing their best to make sure that everything's not completely connected, but through this, it tells us that this happens at the most like a year after the Platinum arc. So I don't think too much time has passed. Oh snap, it just dawned on me. Looker and Caitlin are gonna meet again. I wonder if they'll actually talk. Oh snap! I mean, technically, considering Caitlyn is supposed to be at least a few years older, I guess. Actually, it's kind of hard to parse how much time has really passed then. Maybe I shouldn't dwell too much on that, but it was wild. The fact that N actually just outright won against Alder. Now, I don't know. Part of me kind of questions, did Alder actually want to lose? Did he feel that N would gain more out of him losing? Or did he just outright lose? It's kind of hard to say. Alder has just this mysterious nature to him. So I really do wonder if there was more to Alder losing than just an outright loss. Even still, to have even lost to friggin' Gigi, like dang. But does that say something because of the fact that Gigi hasn't evolved yet? I wonder. And that time when Reshiram came out of the stone, was that just the will of Reshiram to just fight Zekrom? Or was there more to it than that? What truth does Black have to get to be able to get Reshiram to come out? I wonder what's ultimately holding him back. Did Musha just out and out leave Black too? Because if so, that's gotta messed up. But I don't know. See, I don't know. The relationship between Musha and Black feels like it definitely went beyond just meal ticket. I feel like there has to be more to it than that. Because you have all these Pokemon just kind of, they'd always shout out and all that. So I have a hard time believing that, Musha didn't care about Black in any way outside of a free meal. But does that say something about N's ability to read Pokemon? Was it mostly him just pushing his ideals onto the racial relationship between Black and Musha? Or was there something more that he was seeing? Because it's so weird. Because we've had trainers, again, in this story, who do have the ability to read Pokemon. That's even been in the anime. The power of aura and all that. People could really tell their Pokemon, read their Pokemon and what they were thinking. And that revelation, I don't know why I didn't really take into account the fact that it did kind of dawn on me that it was weird that we just kept having all these other starters just come out of the woodworks. But I thought maybe there was something more to it than that. I didn't think that they were maybe just other starters. I thought they were just random Pokemon that just happened to be starters. And where's Cherry? Because that Pokedex should have gone to him. That kind of sucks. He doesn't get his Pokedex in the end. I feel like Cherry really could have made good use of that Pokedex, but I have no idea what the boy is doing. So I hope he really gets to come into play sometime later. I'm just not sure in what capacity they'll come into play. I guess we'll see. But Black kind of had a little bit of an overload. And it's something he's kind of needed to work past for a long time now. That reliance on Musha. It sucks, but he needed this. Musha is good in a pinch, but Musha became too much of a crutch. And he said he wouldn't use it in Pokemon battles, that analytical ability, but you could see his emotions really getting the best of him. And he really needs to figure this out. Because even that moment with Grimsley, and I had a discussion with this, a comment from Steven over on Patreon had mentioned that Black really needs to get over his reliance on Musha to any capacity. He just needs to stop it. He needs to get over that. Because he'll never be the best he could be if he's always relying on it. If he needs a little bit of a boost, I understand, but he turns to it too much. It needs to end. And I look forward to the kind of person he'll turn out to be once he gets over that hurdle. Because he'll be all the better for it, I believe. And that might be what he needs in order to fully awaken Reshiram. So, see how that goes. But a very, very good series of chapters. We only have 2 more volumes left in this before we move on to Black 2 and White 2. It's been a great ride, and I can't wait to see how this all wraps up. But until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next one. So then, take care. Bye-bye.